Breeders' Cup 2025. It's one of the original Breeders' Cup races. The Breeders' Cup Mile, they'll be going 1 mile on the turf, and it's part of the Saturday race card, part of the Breeders' Cup weekend, and 8 furlongs, the best turf milers in the country, taking on some of the top stars from Europe. This is one of those races that usually oversubscribes. They may get as many as 16 to 18 pre-entries, and so the committee will have to determine who makes the field. But we do got the runner-up from last year, Johannes. He is coming back to try to win that turf mile. Rosallion, a European horse, second last time out. Rhetorical, lightly raced, 5 wins and 6 starts, winner of the Coolmore Turf Mile at Keeneland. Simply in front, a filly ready to take on the boys, and Notable Speech, the Woodbine Mile winner. Those are just a few of the many horses pointing for the Breeders' Cup Mile. Let's start off with the race replays, find out how the horses got here. We start off with Johannes, ran second last year in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and City of Hope winner back-to-back years, second in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. Kind of just struts his stuff in this race, took the lead, held sway in the drive, seems to be coming into the Breeders' Cup with the same type of form that he had last year when he ran in second place. Now, Almendares was third to Johannes in the City of Hope Mile, second in the Del Mar Mile to Formidable Man, but Almendares won the Wickerer Stakes. That is important because it's at Del Mar. A good late kick that day. He's one of those horses that is a little bit trip dependent, needs a good trip. A mile is a good distance. Going a little bit longer, a mile and 1/8, a mile and 1/16, his kick isn't as deadly. So on the cut back to the 1 mile, Almendares may be one to take a look at, especially since he's ran against Formidable Man and Johannes many times in big races. Now, Henri Matisse, many people might remember he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf last year at Del Mar. Comes back this year as a 3-year-old, 2 for 5 on the year, 6 for 11 lifetime. Aidan O'Brien trains and ran in 4 straight Grade 1 races this year. Has shown a quick turn of foot, and one of those late kickers at the 1 mile distance. Did win at Del Mar last year as a juvenile, Henri Matisse. Now, the big surprise in the Coolmore Turf Mile was Rhetorical. The New York bred picked up another win, lightly raced, continues to motor him down, won the Keeneland Coolmore Turf Mile, had the lead in mid-stretch, held him all the way to the wire. Rhetorical, the race before that, had ran at Saratoga. Again, it's kind of the same thing. Got to the lead, held him off down the stretch. That was in the West Point Stakes. So he brings in a lightly raced form, a good 1 mile distance horse. And Rhetorical, I think, probably going to be under 7 to 1 here in the Breeders' Cup Mile, but definitely facing more proven horses with a little bit more experience. But Rhetorical just seems to be the type of horse that's in good form right now. Look at this, 6 lifetime starts, 5 wins, 4 for 4 in 2025. He's by Not This Time, who's getting good runners on the turf at the Keeneland meet, getting runners on the dirt. His fee is a big fee. Of course, he's by Giants Causeway, and Rhetorical, 4 for 4 this year, went from an allowance to another allowance, and then the 2 stakes races heading into the Breeders' Cup. Now, Rosallion was second in the Sky Bet City of York Stakes. This one was a wide open scramble at the end, a classy race, a few horses capable of winning, and Rosallion ended up getting second. I think he's going to be a key factor if he can get inside post position and get some cover early on in the race. He's a horse that's going to benefit from a big field with his stretch kick. Now, Simply in Front is a filly, could be possibly taking on the boys. Look at this race. Keeneland, let's go back to that one, the First Lady Stakes, had the lead in mid-stretch. Big kick, made that big move, took the lead, held him off at the wire. Can she take on the boys? Cutting back to a mile, I think, is only going to help her. That First Lady, usually a strong race. Simply in Front brings in some good form and a cutback possible here in the 1 mile on the turf. Now, Program Trading, another one, second in the Bernard Baruch. Let's go to this race. Now, small field, he could probably benefit from a bigger field. Trainer is Chad Brown. He does well in the Breeders' Cup on the turf. Just couldn't catch Donegal momentum in the Bernard Baruch, but definitely 1 mile distance, and his kick should put him in the mix late in the Breeders' Cup turf. And then Formidable Man, we'll talk more about him as we get closer to the race. 8 for 15 lifetime, trained by Michael McCarthy. Look at that record at Del Mar, 6 for 6, won the Del Mar Mile, won the Eddie Reed, won the Frank Kilroe race at Santa Anita earlier this year. So he's got good form. He's got wins at 1 mile. He can stretch it out a little bit longer up to 1 mile and 1/8. He's going to be formidable man for the son of City of Light, and Michael McCarthy trained City of Light. Epic Ride, big win at Kentucky Downs. Now, historically, the Kentucky Downs horses haven't done well in the Breeders' Cup, but their program getting stronger. The Mint Millions race, he had that lead. You know, this is a horse that ran in the Kentucky Derby last year, ran on that Triple Crown prep races. A big win last time out at Kentucky Downs. He's probably going to be a little bit longer of a price, maybe 10, 15 to 1, maybe floating up to 18 to 1 with the deep field and a full field for Epic Ride to try to run down here at Del Mar. Now remember, for the turf, you've got to look at some of the handicapping factors. You usually get about 16 pre-entries, so it's going to be a full field of 12 pretty much guaranteed. Euros do well historically, but some of the Euros that come in off losses, fillies have done okay in this race. Closing kick is required. Speed usually doesn't go wire to wire, not very many wire to wire winners. They can hang on for the exacta and trifecta, but they're usually not in the winning ticket. And then also recent form. You need recent wins and good overall form. Not a lot of horses run very bad races before winning the Breeders' Cup turf. So those are just some of the historical patterns on that turf for the Breeders' Cup. Should be an exciting field this year. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Share this video with a horse racing friend. Leave a comment. Who are you looking forward to seeing in the Breeders' Cup turf? A 1 mile on the turf, part of the Saturday action. Remember, the Breeders' Cup prospectus comes out. Stats and information for the Breeders' Cup. Be notified first if you sign up in the description. As we continue to bring you more previews, we've got previews up with the distaff. Also, the updates on the Breeders' Cup Classic. We'll have another one later on this week. We recently looked at the Dirt Mile and the Sprint as we get you ready for the Breeders' Cup 2025. Breeders' Cup Turf Mile, 1 mile on the turf. They'll be mowing the lawn. Remember what D. Wayne Lucas always said, people have opinions, horses have the facts.